So just a quick little D-minder today. Just going to quickly go through the differences between mindfulness and mind wandering. And it's really something that we make a choice all the time. I'll get back to that. So I'm going to stick with the classic definition of mindfulness from Kabat-Zinn, and it's pretty straightforward. It has three parts to it. It is paying attention on purpose, so there's an intentionality to it, in the present moment without judgment. And when we look at mind wandering, it seems to have all the exact opposite. So mind wandering, instead of being on purpose and with intention, mind wandering seems to just tap on autopilot. So you just start, running that mental movie in it. And it just seems to take its own course without any intentionality. Instead of being in the now, it's always about the past or the future. And the classic thing about mind wandering, and one of the reasons I think it makes us so unhappy, and I'll link an article in the description that shows, and it does some really fancy statistics with it, but what it shows is that mind wandering makes us unhappy. And of course, all the research on mindfulness shows us that it leads us to a very pleasant state of peace. But that judgment part of mind wandering, it's always about the past and the future is always like, here's what I need to be right, and the past is always about, here's what went wrong. And so if you've experienced it, you know that after a long rumination session, or maybe sometimes it's some future thing that the universe has to turn out this way, and then it doesn't, and so it catches up with you. But in the present moment, nothing is ever wrong. And I was doing this in class. I was asking the class, let's do some mindfulness now, and just how many problems do you have right now? And the best a student could come up with is that the sandwich she was eating was a little cold. And I think she was saying it as a joke, because we all knew really there were no problems in the present moment. Problems are always found in the act of mind wandering. And the real point of this video, and I'm trying to keep it short, is that we have a choice. We always choose between being in the present moment and mindfulness or letting the mind wander. That first component to mindfulness, being here with intention and being here on purpose, it is true that that's a choice, but it's also true that it does take practice. And it's the same thing as running a marathon. So you may not be able to go out and run, say, I can't choose to run a marathon, but you can choose to start training. At least most people can. And so you make that choice, and maybe you walk around the block one day. And in that same sense, maybe it's difficult for you to be here now on purpose, but you can do it, even if it's just for a very short time. William James said that it was I'm paraphrasing, but it was the mark of a good education if that educational system trained your attentional system. And that's the problem. We go through an entire educational system learning facts and tricks of the mind and the thinking mind, and we almost never learn how to cultivate that intentionality. But in the end, it is ultimately our choice.